As of May 6th, Germany is preparing to protect its borders with stricter measures against refugees, a decision seen as a sign of a new era in migration policies across Europe. The government under Friedrich Merz, preparing to take office, plans to intensify border controls, immediately block illegal crossings, and implement the practice of refoulement, which involves turning people back at the border. Thorsten Frey, chairman of the Bundestag's Committee on Internal Affairs, emphasized that Germany is generally not the first country asylum seekers enter in Europe, arguing that applications should be submitted in the first country of arrival. It has been announced that the new policy will be implemented in coordination with neighboring countries like France, Austria, and Poland, and support messages have already begun to arrive from these countries. However, there are also voices of opposition within Germany. Aziz Bozkurt, head of the SPD's Migration and Diversity Working Group, argues that the refoulement decision is both unlawful and feeds populist rhetoric rather than solving real social issues. According to Bozkurt, Germany's real problems lie in the difficulty of getting doctor appointments, shortcomings in education, and budget crises in local administrations. Merz, on the other hand, says these policies provide a clear response to the growing anti-immigration concerns in society and prioritize border security along with a fast-track deportation process. Is Europe really opening its doors to Turkey? A statement that could provide an answer to this question came from Poland, which currently holds the rotating presidency of the European Union. Polish officials announced the development of a new and more flexible visa policy, especially for professionals in the business world and experts involved in scientific research. They emphasize that the challenging visa procedures faced by Turkish citizens are largely a result of bureaucratic legacy inherited from previous governments. However, believing that this situation must change, Poland declared that it has taken steps within the framework of EU regulations to overcome these obstacles, marking a highly significant development for Turkish citizens who wish to travel to the Schengen area. The world's Catholics hold their breath. The papal election starting on May 7th is no longer just a matter of faith. It has also become a matter of big money. Yes, you heard that right. A total of $19 million has been wagered on who the new pope will be. Predictions made on platforms like Polymarket, Kalshi, and Betfair show an amount nearly 50 times greater than what was bet in 2013 when Pope Francis was elected. So this is not just a religious issue. It's a global matter of excitement and speculation. Similar scenes have occurred throughout history. Even in 1503, bankers were taking bets on papal elections. In fact, one cardinal once placed a bet on his favorite and then made him pope. Here are some of the leading candidates: Pietro Parolin, the Vatican Secretary of State; Luis Tagle, a Filipino cardinal representing Asia; Matteo Zuppi, an Italian mentioned in Ukraine peace talks; Peter Turkson, a strong candidate from Africa. In 2013, Bergoglio's name leaked even before the election began. This year, even more money is at stake, so a small tip from the inside could shake the markets. The Alternative for Germany, AfD, which rose to become the second largest party in federal elections, has been classified as far-right by domestic intelligence. The rationale: a society based on ethnic origin is contrary to the free democratic order. This has not only become a major topic in Germany, but also around the world. A party that now has 1/5 of the public's vote is on the verge of being pushed out of the system. All eyes are now on Parliament. Friedrich Merz's potential coalition with the SPD would mean the complete isolation of AfD. However, strong reactions have come from the United States. Washington has criticized this decision as limiting democracy and emphasized the importance of freedom of speech. So is this step a break on the rise of the far right in Europe? Or is it a dangerous transformation that will strengthen the AfD further? We await your comments. As Victory Day on May 9th approaches, the Kremlin was preparing to host 2 European leaders during a period of increasing isolation from the West: Slovak Prime Minister Robert Fico and Serbian President Aleksandar Vučić. However, both figures canceled their programs last week, citing health issues. Vučić fell ill during his visit to the United States and was hospitalized upon returning to his country. Fico, on the other hand, canceled his trip to the UK and saw official engagements at the last minute. These developments sparked speculation on Russian social media and some media outlets. Questions like, is there poisoning involved? And are Moscow visits being blocked by the West began circulating. Fico responded to the claims by saying, quote, "My health is none of your concern," but also admitted that the assassination attempt he faced last year left lasting effects. A political crisis is escalating in Greece. Prime Minister Kyriakos Mitsotakis, already embroiled in a spyware scandal and a train crash, now faces illegal funding allegations. It's claimed that in 2016, while in opposition, he secretly paid his team salaries through the Blue Skies agency, owned by the Varvitsiotis family. The accusations of illegal funding are deepening the crisis. Additionally, several individuals who were paid this way were later appointed to key government positions. With the judiciary silent, critics argue that media and politics are controlled by oligarchs. These events could mark the end of Mitsotakis' political career, and the search for a new party leader, with Defense Minister Nikos Dendias rising in prominence, has already begun. A chilling case in France has highlighted the real-world risks facing crypto millionaires. In central Paris, 4 masked men kidnapped the father of a wealthy crypto investor. He was later rescued in Palaiseau, but not before the kidnappers cut off one of his fingers and demanded €5 minus 7 million in ransom. Phone tracking led police to the location, resulting in 4 arrests. This is France's 3rd crypto-related abduction this year. In January, Ledger co-founder David Balland and his wife were kidnapped, with Balland also losing a finger. In another case, the victim was the father of a crypto influencer living in Dubai. Experts warn that the high value and untraceable nature of digital assets make crypto holders and their families easy targets, stressing the need for strong physical security alongside digital measures. TikTok has been hit with a historic €530 million fine by the Irish Data Protection Commission for transferring EU user data to China and failing to adequately protect it from Chinese authorities. While TikTok denies the claims and insists that the Chinese government has not requested data from us, its shifting position during the 4-year investigation has raised eyebrows. The company initially claimed data wasn't stored in China, but later admitted in February that some data is held there. Beijing responded by opposing illegal data collection and urged the EU to act fairly. However, these reassurances have not eased global security concerns, with the U.S. Congress giving TikTok's parent company, ByteDance, until June 19th to sell the platform or exit the U.S. Just days before the 80th anniversary of World War II celebrations, tensions in Russia have reached a peak. Drones launched from Ukraine were destroyed before reaching the capital. 4 were shot down in the Podolsk region south of Moscow. While Mayor Sobyanin confirmed there were no casualties, Domodedovo Airport was temporarily shut down. The attack extended beyond the capital, with reports of 26 Ukrainian drones being downed across the country. The Kremlin claimed the strikes were deliberately timed ahead of the May 9th Victory Day, while regional tensions surged ahead of a temporary ceasefire announced by President Putin. Despite ceasefire declarations, the battlefield remains active. Skies are filled with drones, and public squares echo with propaganda. Experts suggest these attacks carry not only military, but also psychological and political significance.